And now this week, we're hearing about the impact it's also having on mortgages. The financial information website Money Facts has recorded the biggest fall in available mortgages since the aftermath of the Liz Truss mini-budget in 2022. It says hundreds of residential mortgage products have been withdrawn. Well, the BBC's cost of living correspondent is Kevin Peachy. He has this.
What's the impact of the war if you're looking to buy your first home? It's not great news. The interest rates that mortgage lenders are charging is rising and the choice of mortgages is falling. Banks and building societies often pull mortgage products from sale, unsure of how to price them when uncertainty reigns. The Iran war and its global economic impact means that the cost of borrowing is likely to be higher over the next few months than previously expected. And so the average rate on a 2 and 5 year deal has gone above 5%. And that's not all. Other costs are going up too. If you rent and pay your energy bill, then the cost of gas and electricity is expected to go up this summer if there's not a speedy resolution to this conflict. There's also the chance that supermarkets may put up the price of food too. Experts say it's important to plan ahead, whether that's securing a mortgage or planning out the weekly shop.
But how do we plan ahead? If you're thinking of taking out a new mortgage, should you wait? As I say, new figures from Money Facts suggest new mortgages on a typical 2-year fixed deal are almost £800 a year more expensive than before the war began. Well, let's speak to someone who can help. Malcolm Davidson is Managing Director of UK Money Man, based in Hull and Beverley. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Is it fair to say then, Malcolm, it's Hobson's choice, if you like, on the mortgage market currently?
No, we're definitely nowhere near that point yet. And I don't think it's fair to say we're anywhere near the point that we were under the last time we saw this kind of activity was Liz Truss. People at that time were coming off fixed rates. Do you remember those really low ones, 1% and 2%, and rates had spiked up to 6% and above. So there was a really hairy 6-month period round about that disastrous budget where people were really adversely affected. So whilst, of course, uncertainty is difficult to manage for everybody, the rises that we've seen over the last couple of weeks since the conflict started have been far more modest. But it is fair to say that lenders don't know what's going to happen next, same as all of us, really.
And so is that how the war in Iran is affecting our mortgage prices? It's the uncertainty that comes with it then?
Correct. So we've got a Bank of England base rate meeting this week, and a rate cut was actually nailed on. So the market was anticipating that we were going to see an interest rate cut, and because the lenders price their fixed rate mortgages in anticipation of what's going to be happening at those Bank of England meetings, we'd seen rates falling over the start of the year, and of course lenders trying to capture a bit of market share. Now all the bets are off. That interest rate cut that we're expecting this week is guaranteed not to happen, so the lenders are repricing their fixed rate mortgages accordingly, and we're up kind of in the high 4s, where we're in the low 4s just a matter of a few weeks ago.
Right, okay. And so what would you advise people then wanting to take out a mortgage currently? If you've got somebody who's maybe looking to buy a house, take out a new mortgage, would you advise them to wait? Or as you've said, it's not as drastic as that, there are still offers out there?
Absolutely. So it's pretty different to 2022. So the two different situations you've described there. So people that are buying a property, obviously you're buying that property over 20, 30 years mortgage, you're going to see fluctuations in interest rates during those decades that you're paying your mortgage off. Okay, so there are going to be times when your renewal is due, when rates are low and when rates are high. So buying a property is very much a long-term investment. It's been a very sound investment for most people who like the idea of being mortgage-free in their retirement, and people shouldn't be put off just by the fact that interest rates are a little bit higher now than they were just a matter of a few weeks ago, because actually at 5%, that is the historical normal over the last 50 years. Now, for people whose deals are due for renewal over the coming weeks and months, it is important to get locked into a new deal as early as possible, which is when you're looking to remortgage 6 months ahead of schedule, 6 months ahead of your renewal date. So the people that are in that situation, we're advising them to get locked into a deal now, because then you know what your worst case scenario is if interest rates continue to rise, if the conflict goes on longer. Now, during that 6 month period, you do have the opportunity to review the deal that you signed up to and take out a new deal if interest rates happen to go down during that 6 months. So the advice is engage with a mortgage broker 6 or 6.5 months before your deal is due to an end, and get yourself locked in nice and early.
Okay, I mean, I know it's very difficult, isn't it, to say, is it likely to get worse? Because we haven't got a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen in the Middle East. But with regard to inflation and interest rates, if we think about where they might be towards the end of the year, is it likely they'll go up?
You're right. No one can realistically comment on that. But what I think we're going to learn a lot about is energy policy. Because it doesn't matter what predictions the OBR make and governments make and forward-thinking economic forecasts, if you don't control your own energy source, then it's always going to be difficult to make those accurate predictions, and all the bets come off. And it's exactly that type of uncertainty that leads into things like we've seen over the last few weeks. Lenders not sure what's going to be happening, jockeying for position and putting the rates up while we all wait and see what happens next.
Okay, but it's not as bad a picture as at the moment as it has been in the past, and there are offers out there. Are there any in particular, Malcolm, that you've seen? Any good deals out there currently when it comes to mortgages?
Yeah, it changes by the day. But it's the top 6 banks in the UK that dominate the market. They're responsible for over 80% of the lending. So those are the ones to keep an eye on.
Okay, top 6. We'll have a look at those.
Yep.
Malcolm, thank you very much for coming on to talk about mortgages. And of course, we have in the past discussed heating oil. We've heard about this big package of support from the Prime Minister with regard to that, keeping an eye on energy prices and also petrol as well at the pumps. It's a bit of an uncertain time, isn't it? And of course, we don't like that, do we? You know, if you're sort of planning for your future or trying to save and not knowing how much you can, or even if you can't afford to pay bills that you're getting through the letterbox right now. What's your main advice, Malcolm, for people sort of navigating this as a whole?
Yeah, well, I think at times like this, it's kind of going through your direct debits, isn't it? It's looking at the deals that you signed up to, any subscriptions, for example, that you're not using, that you can cancel off or give notice on, and looking at those bigger outgoings, the ones that you can control, because obviously you can't control things like your council tax, but your other big outgoings, such as your energy deal and your mortgage rates, those are the ones to keep a careful watch on. And you're right to mention the word uncertainty there, and I would just say it's not just consumers that feel like that, it's the market that feels like that as well. And the lenders, and that's what's happening with mortgage pricing. But no need to panic. We're nowhere near in that Liz Truss moment at this time.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on, Malcolm, to explain in a little bit more detail what's happening right now. Malcolm Davidson, Managing Director of UK Money Man. He says it's not as bad as where it was in the aftermath of the Liz Truss mini budget in 2022. There are still good offers out there. Don't panic with regard to mortgages. If you're looking to remortgage, or if you're looking to buy a house, maybe for the first time, that's still an option. And he advises currently actually not to hold off to actually get locked in on something now. Let me know your thoughts on it. Is this affecting you? Have you maybe got children who are looking to buy a house and have been hearing this and the uncertainty of the conflict in the Middle East and concerned about it? Stay in touch. 08000 665 959. And if not mortgage rates, is there other impacts you're seeing because of the conflict on the cost of living? WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your message RH.